Hello Scorpio, welcome to your reading with me, Cindy. You can see up in the corner, Scorpio, I shuffled the cards out ahead of time here because working with the Wild Unknown Archetype deck, I do like to take a minute to kind of go over the cards. And I'm going to be honest, I sat with your cards longer than I've sat with anyone else's cards. And when I'm doing this reading, I'm asking about your energy, and then I am specifically asking another person, so another person's energy. Now, I'm struggling with this one because I feel like it's a real possibility here that this is actually you, and it could be you transforming from one point to another. And because of the intensity of the transformation, you could even describe this as you being a completely different person. So that's why I feel like that's a strong possibility here. And I sat with it a little bit because I wanted to present the reading to you like in true authenticity here, like the authentic elements of this reading, and trying to really understand what that was. Am I trying to force something by just saying, oh, you know what, I think this is just Scorpio on the other side of themselves through a transformation here? Or, you know, am I honoring the reading? Am I trying to force it that way? So I really did sit here and spend some time trying to go over it. Now, I really do feel like it is you. But you know what, it doesn't have to be, so I'm going to put that out there. It doesn't have to be. I'm going to actually start with the underlying cards first, which, you know, because of the complexity or the complexity of this and the depth of this reading, that it's best to start at the beginning, which is where we came from, not where you are right now. So to me, the underlying is where the energies that you've worked through that have brought you here. So this underlying is real fascinating, my friends. You got the Venom card. Okay, you have the Venom card, which is difficult. I mean, I just want to say it's kind of like self-realization through suffering. Because like that's kind of like the prominent message of this card. It's self-realization through suffering. And then you have the Sword, which is making a major decision here. You make a decision, and then it's taking action on that decision. So, which is funny because then you follow through with the Threshold. And the Threshold is kind of like standing at the precipice of taking a very powerful action. So, I feel like you've, see, it's showing me that there's a lot of transformation that's going on here. You've been through a lot. Now, I want to say that, because this also reflects this energy over here. This is what I would call the other person, which I'll get to in a minute. Because like this self-realization through suffering, it is almost like consuming or allowing darkness and toxic energies to consume you, to find, not necessarily intentionally, but it happens. And through suffering, we realize our true strength. We realize our true weaknesses. We realize how to really lean into our strengths, because we know our weakness is not something that is going to help us through an ordeal. Right? And this is changing your reality. So like, and taking the action. So here you stand. It's like here you stand on the precipice of stepping into a whole new reality. Really, it's a whole new reality. And I feel like I am honoring this reading more by literally stating that this is you on the other side, because of the type of cards that sit in this other person. This is you. I feel like this is you that you haven't quite met yet. And you're in the process of meeting this person. And I mean, it's different. I mean, you know, it's funny too with Scorpio, the symbol of death and rebirth, all over this reading, like maple syrup on a pancake, baby. I'm still all over, like maple syrup on a pancake. Now, but I'm Canadian, so that's why. Love that. Or on a waffle, but anyways. The lizard, this is your underline here. You have lizard, bat, and the elk. So the lizard is a very empathic energy. It takes time away from others. It can become easily overwhelmed by other people's energies. The bat, to me, also comes through as ancestral energy, an ancestral guide that is there with you through a period of purging others' energies to really become familiar with your own. But this is also the bat. It's funny, you know, I looked back in the book for this, and it has a similar meaning to it that the bat does in the Divine Animal Spirit Oracle deck, which is rebirth is assured. Well, it doesn't say that, but it's basically, it is talking about working towards a rebirth. And I thought, well, that's fascinating, isn't it? So, I mean, because that's all over this reading. And then the elk, we have this incredible stability, consistency, fortitude, strength, knowing one's power. Okay, so that's kind of like the undercurrent, which is very appropriate for the cards that have come out as well, to where you are now. So this is interesting. So I'm just going to read this energy. You have the orphan and the shark. And the orphan talks about the wounded child. It talks about the abandoned, feeling abandoned, the beggar, like, right? And two, like even putting the little hand out. I have nothing. I have no one to rely on. Can you help me? Can you help me? It's about, but it's also about tenderness, deep tenderness, showing tenderness, particularly to self, holding yourself close with deep nurturance. It also talks about like rejection. So I guess there's different ways we can become orphaned. We can become orphaned through, the sad, untimely death of a parent. Well, even not untimely, depending on how old you are and your parents are, of that. But also through rejection. We can become orphaned through rejection. But so the rejection, though, the rejection is the thing that is actually needed. Well, it says what is rejected is what is actually needed. So there's something here about possibly rejecting something, but that's what you need. And then you get the shark. So the shark is about like real honesty is the only thing that will fix whatever's wrong here. Like the shark can indicate an imbalance here, and about like there's something that is circling. There's something where we need to be very direct. We need to expose something, and if we don't do that, this energy becomes uncomfortable. It just feels like it's always in the room. It's like the elephant in the room kind of energy with that, right? And it's interesting that you would have the shark, this water element, because the next over here is the river. The river. This is about saying exactly what you really want. And okay, so there could even be something going on here where there could be fear of rejection. If I say exactly what I want and I get rejected. But no, you see, to me that almost feels like that's the point where we can exhale. Because if we're swimming around something all the time, I'm going to pretend this, because I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid of rejection, so I'm not going to do that. But this has got more a power of, I'm going to state what I want, and then if I get rejected, like, I don't know, I feel like that's the empowering part to this card. I'm like imagining like a dance or something, right? Like a dance. And there's someone there that you really like. But the whole time during the dance, maybe you're kind of flirting with them, or you're just, but you're not really saying, I'd like to go and dance with you. You're not really saying that, because it's almost like, well, if I just flirt with them, they get the idea that I want to dance with them, and then we'll just start dancing, right? So it avoids that direct rejection. But if you come forward and you say, and you think to yourself, well, if I tell them I'd like to dance with them and they say no, oh, well, I don't want to hear that. Maybe they'll just figure it out, right? Or it's kind of playing in your mind, well, if it feels like that person has rejected you, or this thing has rejected you in some way, but you haven't come forward like with true honesty in terms of like who you are, what exactly it is that you want, you can just continue to kind of fool yourself and say, well, they only rejected me because they don't really know what I want. It's such an interesting way to kind of combine those two cards, and an interesting way to look at it. So I mean, I didn't, I sat here for a while too. I'm like, I'm not sure how to start this reading. Anyone who's been watching me for a while knows that a lot of times I just need to start talking and we work it out, and that's how it is. I feel like life is like that too. I find so many people come to readings and they just want a direct answer. I want a solution. Life isn't fucking like that, man. It just isn't. And I don't think tarot will ever really be truly that in its truest depth, because the answer is often meant to be found within ourselves, right? So just as we've explored that card, I feel like it touches on, right? We talk about wounded child. That's like the first key to the orphan. And that could be trying to hide a wound of some sort. It's like not being upfront about what you want so that you truly don't feel rejected. But you see, the funny thing is, when you actually get rejected, you can like deal with that feeling and that energy and move on. Otherwise, you're just playing a game with yourself the whole time. So maybe that's what this threshold is. This threshold, because a wound could be associated, right, with like suffering, a true actualization through suffering, discovery of self. But the suffering, to move away from the suffering, it's almost like moving away from the suffering, making a real decision here to move away from the suffering. And then you walk into this different reality. Yeah, it kind of has that vibe too of, slowly pulling off a Band-Aid instead of just ripping that fricker off. Just ripping that off. So that's interesting because that's your energy. Or at least that's what God wants to talk to you about right now. So now we go over here. And remember, I said there's a big part of me that feels like that this is you. But because it is interesting, right? Because I'm asking as another person. But that's what I feel like. It's so, if this is you at the other end of a transformation, that's just it. You are another person. You are not the person you were before. Like, it's huge. The first card that comes out is the River. And this is about the ritual of change and rebirth. Change and rebirth. It has this card also has a real, like the nuance of it to me and all the things that are described with it, has a real sense of like, I would say like a baptism, like, because it just washes things away. It's about washing things away. It's about smoothing things. It's about softening the things that are unnecessary, no longer clinging to unnecessary things, which actually when I come into, that's kind of, as I say that, because the tarantula, I mean, one of the aspects of the tarantula is trying to choose, making a decision to choose Dharma over past habits, routines, things that don't necessarily serve you for your greatest good. So, actually combining that with the River really gives a sense here of removing those things. It's about forgiveness. I mean, the River is coming out of the River. You enter the River with all of these dark elements to yourself, perhaps. Parts of you that are not really you. Things that you're afraid to look at. And it's almost like, to me, the River is... Wait, I'm seeing the ocean. I'm seeing the ocean card in this deck. And that's actually almost like having a great purge, like an emotional purge. And just like releasing everything. Because it's kind of like it talks about all those emotions. And then sort of, I feel like there's forgiveness in that. Because now I'm almost feeling like this is just flowing from the ocean and then finding its way into a river. See, that's the other thing. Okay, the other thing about this card is that it carries a person's transformation. Like if you think about a river, how you flow through it, it carries your transformation much further than you ever thought it would go. So that's another way that this could be you. Like that this could literally be you, but you don't even recognize yourself at the other end of this. All mistakes, grievances, all of those things are washed away in the river. Where I want to say almost like the ocean itself. Of course the ocean has currents and waves, but it's this big body of water, right? And that's almost like the baptism energy, the release. And then this is washing it away, like removing it from you, like a true removal between yourself and those things. They go into the water and they get washed away. But you find, like, right, like whatever this transformation is, whatever transformation you think you're going through right now, you're going to find yourself on the other side of this, like so different. You're not even going to recognize yourself. People wouldn't even recognize you. And that could even be like a physical transformation that takes place through internal transformation as well, right? And it has something to do too with like really finding your life's purpose here. So whatever uncomfortable habits, routines, the things that you've prioritized in your life that, you know, maybe shouldn't have been priorities, it's washing all that away. It's following your intuition. But because it's a crossroads, it's like making a choice, right? Like you have to make a choice, but the crossroad and the threshold are so similar to me as well. So, right, like it's a really beautiful energy. And I sat here and I thought, you know, because I do feel like it's important when I'm doing a reading and I'm asking about y'all, and then someone else. There's a reason I'm doing that, because it gives us perspective. It gives us perspective, and it can't, I don't think, none of us are an island. I am going to treat you like islands next week. I'm going to do readings next week where it's just your energy. But there's a really important reason that I at times decide to do that, because we are not islands, and it's also good to get get a perspective from another angle, yada, yada, yada. So I try to honor that. But I sat here and I sat here and I sat here and I feel like I'm dishonoring Scorpio's reading if I really try to force it there that this is someone else outside of you. I really do feel like it's you. But this transformation is so extensive, and it takes you, like, let's say you get into the water, right? You're getting into this water, and this water is where you're going through a rebirth. It symbolizes a rebirth. It symbolizes a purge here, a purging of who you are, who you've been. And you can't even imagine, right? Like, it's very chrysalis-like energy. The little caterpillar, it's almost like never having seen a butterfly before, though. Like never having ever seen a butterfly before. So even saying that, I want to say, like, there's something very unique in what you're going to become on the other side. And it does have something to do with your life purpose and dharma, if you choose it. So, now, having said all that, I'm going to go into the Wild Unknown Tarot. I am going to ask, what is the energy? What joins you and the other? Okay, so, because getting there, and it might even just be saying what you want, like, and that could just be it. You need to just say exactly what it is that you really want. Now, as I say, okay, I'm putting these down. As I say that, and I get this, like, because the little child handout, like the beggar, right? Please, please, can I have some bread? Please, can I have some money to buy some food? What does this child really want? This child wants to be loved, accepted, safe, to have like stability and reliability every day in their life. They're putting their hand out, right? It's like putting your hand out for, just please, sir, just a little. But no, what does this child really want? Like, you know, I'm going to advocate. Come on. What does this child really want? This child wants that man or that woman walking past them and saying, here, child, take my hand. Take my hand. Let's take you somewhere safe. You need more than just be. That's what the child wants. But because people are like, well, I guess the child just wants, you know, a little bit of that. Oh, here you go, hon. And that person feels good about themselves. Look what I did today. I gave that little orphan child a little piece of bread. I gave them half my sandwich, or I gave, you know, whatever. No, this is like, I don't know, like if your wounded child here is to come out and say what you want. That's what I really feel like. That's where you are. Come out and say what you really want. It's like, no, I want you to take me home. I want to feel safe. I want to have a mommy and a daddy again. I want to feel like that's what the child, the wound, the orphan really wants. But because they're not really saying it, they're hoping someone will just kind of go, oh, okay, yeah, come with me. Unfortunately, well, I think it should. In that case, I would really hope someone would take that child's hand and take them to say, you better, you have to. It's your obligation, all of us. Okay, why is it 7? Where did that come from? How did you do that? I picked up this deck and I just moved it to the side. And I'm looking at the table and this is how the cards are looking at me. Like, how in God's name did this card come out? I don't, maybe you guys saw it happen on the camera? I don't know. The 7 of Swords. Okay. I was going to ask, right? Just one card is face up. I was going to ask what takes you or what joins you, connects you, what commonality you have between you and this other. Okay? This other. You don't know this person yet if it's you. This person yet if it's you. It's the 7 of Swords. Right? It's hiding. It's hiding something. It's hiding the truth. Just say the fucking truth. What it is. I don't know what it is. It's probably associated with a wound. Like it's associated with a spot where you felt rejection. But where you feel rejection is the thing that is needed. I feel like that card is more like that based on that interpretation, based on how this is unfolded, this energy. It's not so much what you've rejected, but perhaps it is that you actually need. And it's being truthful about that. It's almost like this, so we could play it a different way too. It could also be like this little hand coming out and, you know, oh, all right, here's a loony kid. Canada, we have loonies and toonies. That's $1. It's $1. You're not going to get anything with that. I'll tell you that, kid, you better give him a $10 bill. But anyways, here's a couple bucks, kid. But it's almost like, you know what? I feel like, because I'm going to say something here. You know, on the surface, you would look at this, you know, the scenarios that I've given, and oh, aren't they all, oh, they'll do great things for that child. I'm telling you right now, that child will do amazing things for the person who takes their hand. It's actually kind of, I'm feeling like this well of emotion, like it's like opening up my heart chakra. Like that's exactly what that is. It's like you take in the orphan and you think you're doing such a wonderful thing for the orphan. But it's actually what you do for yourself. What that does for you. Oh, such a beautiful reading. I don't know. But yeah, in its own funny ways here. So the 7 of Swords, I mean, this is all about strategy. It can be about strategy and hiding things. Not being out in the open. I mean, that's what it is. But that's almost like the problem here. And there's forgiveness. The other thing, too, I want to say, if there's anything that has gone on here between you and a child, or if you are the child, you like any sort of parental figure in a child here, which is a possibility with the elk, because this can be the father or the mother, is to wash away grievances. Wash away grievances. Yeah, that's like really, but that's like a crossroad. It is a crossroad energy. So I'm going to pull one card out for the orphan and one for the shark. Wow, the orphan, the Hierophant. It's almost like someone who's been disowned from their family. The shark, the high priestess. Okay. And now right there, we have like the yin and yang of spiritual entities, I guess, right? Or counterparts, however you want to describe it. The Hierophant and the high priestess. The orphan is the Hierophant. The shark, the honesty, the truth is the high priestess. Now, this is also fascinating because that is telling me right there, there's been a disconnection between tradition and, I don't know, honesty and truth. There's been a disconnection here. Like, the Hierophant can also represent like all the institutions and systems that we've built in our world to represent divinity and structure and order. The High Priestess is here with the hidden truth. Okay. Now, let's go over to the river tarantula. The river tarantula. The orphan shark. I swear you can combine these and come up with characters for stories. Probably children's books. The orphan shark and the river tarantula. I mean, to think of a tarantula by a river too, that is probably not an easy decision to make. Because a tarantula is not naturally going to be in a river. The river. Damn, the Father of Cups. The tarantula? Oh, the Three of Swords. It's like the crossroads. This is between the heart and the mind. Whatever this is on this other side, it's not an easy decision to make. But it's... And I think this is giving me more clarity, that it's confirming even more that this is you. With the Father of Cups, that is your card, the King of Cups. Now, the High Priestess too, I want to say, you know, it's flexible. I know some people will say Cancer. I get Pisces and Scorpio from the High Priestess. A little more Pisces than Scorpio, but Scorpio for sure as well. Because we're talking about like hidden truths and esotericism and all that shit. But right with the 12th house with Pisces, I feel like it's really strong in there. But there's hidden shit too. All the water people. Y'all hiding shit. Shit. This crossroads is significant. It's very significant with the Three of Swords. It might be some area here too where it's just like the irreconcilable differences between what your mind says and what your heart feels, and then washing it away. It's almost like just accepting life is just as life is sometimes. And coming out the other end through forgiveness, grace. Let's look at the Seven of Swords. I just heard rejection is protection. So that's funny too, right? Like, how did I not get that before? It's used so often. With the orphan, right? So the rejection is literally the thing that is needed. You need to be rejected. That's a possibility to become yourself. So this is such a deep reading. The Hermit. There's the Chrysalis. The Eight of Swords, and the Daughter of Wands. The Seven of Swords. All this hidden, why, all, hidden. Look at the turtle, right? The turtle is hiding in its shell. The butterfly is not coming out of the chrysalis, like, well, with good reason there, right? And then the fox is hiding. There's a truth here. There's some sort of truth that's hidden. It feels like it releases you from everything. I don't know what everything is, but, right? And then there's the communication with the Page, the Daughter of Wands. So it is. It's almost like something that needs to be said. It's like to clear out the elephant in the room. What you got here? Okay, it starts with Judgment. You go rising from the dead, coming out of the water. The Five of Swords. The Eight of Cups. The Father of Wands and the Lovers. Rising above. It's odd. It almost feels like coming out of a no-win situation. Coming out of a no-win situation to your destiny. Freeing yourself from a no-win situation to go to your destiny, your dharma. Yeah, really, really powerful, profound reading, Scorpio. I'm going to go do the extended. This is going to be interesting. I think this is going to have an interesting spin. On the extended, I'm going to ask what the other doesn't know about you. Okay, so, okay, and what you don't know about the other. Because this feels so much that it is you, I feel like sort of introspectively looking at this, when we go to the extended, whoever wants to go there with me, it will be like what you discover, what you realize about the old you when you're over here. And then when I ask what you don't know about this, it's what, well, there's a lot probably, because it's a part of you that you have not even imagined yet. That's what it is. Thank you so much, Scorpio. Until next time, be gentle with yourselves. Bye.